Welcome to the GTN Show. It's Olympic week and we've already had two amazing races with the mixed relay still to come at the end of the week. Today we review those two races, what happened in them, and we look at some of the reactions on social media, plus we look at some of the bikes those guys rode. First, on to the men's race at the Olympic Games, and it was an early start at 6:30 a.m. to beat the heat, possibly too early for the camera boat pilot, who somehow found himself parked right in front of the start line when the gun went. After that false start, they all climbed out of the water and the race got underway properly the second time round. Race favourite Vincent Louis led after lap 1 of the swim and carried on leading into T2. Together with 4 other fast swimmers, they tried to put a surge on at the start of the bike, but soon it became a group of 10. They had a solid 15-second lead on a chase group, which included Alex Yee and Kristian Blummenfelt, and another 25 seconds to the second chase pack, which included Hayden Wilde from New Zealand. But as is normally the case on such a flat route, by halfway, all the packs had emerged, and it was one pack of 39 men going around that twisty-turny bike course. A valiant effort by Switzerland's Andreas Salversberg saw him solo the last 2 laps and hit T2 with a slender 15-second advantage. On the run, and it was simply a game of attrition with the heat and the high pace combining. Yee led the most of lap 1 with Hayden Wilde, Kristian Blummenfelt, Max Studer, Johnny Brownlee, Martin van Riel, Kevin McDowell and Darian Connings all in that mix, with Tyler Mislachuk, Vincent Louis and Japan's Kenji Nena slowly falling off the pace. It was an attrition though, and they slowly popped off one by one. By the start of the last lap, it was really just a race for the medals, with only Alex Yee, Kristian Blummenfelt and Hayden Wilde in contention, with McDowell and Brownlee valiantly fighting a little way off the group. After trading some surges with 1 kilometer to go, Blummenfelt left it all out there and Alex Yee simply couldn't respond. Blummenfelt's last kilometer was so powerful that the Norwegian had plenty of time to celebrate his gold coming down the blue carpet, with Alex Yee from Great Britain taking silver and Hayden Wilde from New Zealand taking the bronze. 24 hours later in Tokyo, and it was the women's turn, and what a difference a day makes. It was chucking it down before the start of the race. In fact, so much so that they delayed the start of the race by 15 minutes to let the clouds pass. And it worked. It cleared up a bit. It was still raining when they came out of the swim, but most of the day was a lot clearer and certainly wasn't a torrential storm that they had in the early hours of the morning. Great Britain's Jess Learmonth led most of the 1500 meter swim, and she pulled a group of 7 really solid swimmers away from the main pack, and they had quite a solid gap going into T1. Joining Jess was Brazil's Vitória Lopes, 2019 world champion Katie Zaferis, Summer Rappaport, also from the USA, reigning world champion Georgia Taylor-Brown and 2-time world champ Flora Duffy, with Germany's Laura Lindemann making up the group of 7. As they went around the wet and twisty bike course, Summer Rappaport was unable to keep the pace in the wet. Not known for her bike handling skills, she struggled to stay and kept dropping off the back and then trying to reel them back in. Didn't last very long. Lap 5, it was Lopez who slipped off the back of the pack, leaving only 5 women to duke it out for T2. Meanwhile, behind them, the deficit to the chasers was more than a minute for most of the race, with 39-year-old mum of 3 Nicholas Spirig pretty much doing all the work to keep that gap at 1 minute. She was on the front pretty much every time we saw her. And then in the final 2 kilometers of the bike, drama for Team Great Britain as Georgia Taylor-Brown in that lead group slowed dramatically. Turns out she had a flat rear tyre. Thankfully, she was almost within sight of transition and she managed to ride it in on the rim, only losing about 15 seconds coming out of T2, but she was still very much in the race. However, Flora Duffy went out on the run like the clappers and no one was touching her. By halfway through the run, she had a solid minute lead on the rest of the girls, and it was her race to lose. Behind her, Zaferis was running in second, Lindemann in third, and Learmonth in fourth. Taylor-Brown soon reeled in her teammate Learmonth, passing her and handing her a bottle of water on the way past. Then passed Laura Lindemann for the bronze position. Meanwhile, Flora Duffy was still streaking off into the distance, ahead of Zaferis. Taylor-Brown ran about 5 seconds behind Zaferis for a long time before making her surge, passing her for that silver position. Flora Duffy was untouchable though. She took the tape in 1 hour 55 and 36 seconds to become Bermuda's first ever Olympic champion in any sport. Congrats to her. Georgia Taylor-Brown for Great Britain taking the silver and Katie Zaferes for the USA taking the bronze. The Netherlands' Rachel Klamer finished 4th after riding most of the way in that second pack behind Nicolas Spirig. Leonie Perriol of France 5th and Nicolas Spirig an outstanding 6th place. Well, what a couple of races we were treated to there. Very different on the men's and the women's. The men's, a massive pack all coming down to the run, and the women's pretty much Flora, untouchable, amazing swim, solid bike, and absolutely incredible run. Well-deserved win there for her. Now, all eyes turn to the mixed relay, which happens tomorrow night. If you haven't seen it before or don't know what to expect there, we've put up a video on what to expect from the mixed relay. So make sure you click that and brush up on your knowledge before the race happens. It is 2 men, 2 women from each country, each racing essentially a super sprint triathlon. So they go in alternating order, man, woman, and they each race a full triathlon, swim, bike, run, before handing over to their compatriot. It's going to be interesting. Certainly our favorites have to be Great Britain with their medals and positions on the individual. Certainly also to watch Switzerland. They had 2 really solid performances on the men's side, and of course Nicolas Spirig with her solid 6th place on the women's. Definitely a team to watch for that gold medal there. A 3rd Olympic gold medal in triathlon for the first time ever. We're looking forward to that one. Meanwhile, in some other race news on the other side of the world, a significantly longer race, Ironman Lake Placid happened last weekend, and 9 years since her race with Nicolas Spirig in London 2012, where they had that epic sprint finish, Lisa Norden made her Ironman debut, and she did it in style. She swam the 3rd best swim split, the women's fastest bike split, and 4th best marathon to win with a total time of 9:11 and stamp her Kona ticket. So we'll see if we've seen her there. 2nd was Heather Jackson from the US, and 3rd place Joanna Rutter of Switzerland. Meanwhile, in the men's race, Lisa's compatriot, fellow Swede Rasmus Svenningsson, combined a decent swim with a race best 4:26 bike and a 2nd fastest 2:51 run to win by nearly 10 minutes over France's Arnaud Guillot, and just behind him a few seconds later was, in 3rd place, was Joe Skipper of Great Britain. Those guys also obviously stamping their Kona tickets, so we look forward to seeing them there. As you've probably noticed by now, I'm doing the show solo this week. Mark is on some much needed leave, and of course Heather is all the way on the other side of the world in Tokyo. But before Mark left, we did a little Olympic trivia quiz, and you be the judge of how it went. Alright, seeing as it's an Olympic triathlon week and it only comes around once every 4 years, we thought we'd have a little different presenter challenge this week. Mark and I have set each other a few questions, and we're going to have an Olympic trivia quiz. So 5 questions each, the winner takes all.
I think I've been quite nice actually. Shall I just crack on, get started?
You do the first question.
This is a very easy one to start off with. I'll be very worried if you don't know the answer. But here we go. What year was triathlon first included in the Olympic Games?
Oh, too easy. 2000 at the Sydney Olympics, of course.
If you didn't get that answer right, I think we might have to let you go from GTN.
All right. Well,
God, I'm worried.
On the same topic then, or the same vein, I'm going to go with where will the 2028 Olympic Games be held?
Paris.
That is incorrect, Mark. That's the 2024 Olympic Games.
Oh,
the 2028 Olympic Games will not be in Paris as well.
I didn't listen.
Yes. Wow.
Oh, I just
James takes the lead.
Oh, God.
2028 Olympic Games will be in Los Angeles, and we've just heard that 2032 Games will be in Brisbane, Australia. Mark needs to pay a bit more attention.
I do need to pay more attention. That's so embarrassing. Okay, next one. A notable name missing from this year's Olympics was 2-time Olympic champion Alistair Brownlee. But in 2008, his first Olympics, where did he place?
Ooh, I'm not entirely sure. I want to
Shall I give you a bit of recap of the race slightly? He did actually lead the run at one point.
Yeah, I remember, and he was, I want to say 7th. I'm going to go with 7th.
Good guess. I'm afraid it was 12th. He really slipped back in the closing stages of the run.
Yeah.
He blew his socks off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he made up for it in the next 2 Olympics, didn't he?
Yeah, fair. A lot of experience learned there, I'd imagine.
Okay, on to Olympic finishes then. What was the closest finish at the Olympics, and what was the official gap?
Oh, God. Well, I know it was the sprint finish between Nicholas Spirig and Lisa Northern, which I know you saw. Literally, you were there on the finish line, which was very cool. The gap, in terms of seconds?
The official gap. What was the official gap at the end?
It was like 0.001 probably.
I'm not actually sure what it was in seconds. It was 15 centimeters, according to the photo finish.
Do I still get the point, or is that a half
Yeah,
point?
you get the point. No, you get the point. You got it correct. Well done. Okay.
All right, next one. Who was second in the men's triathlon at the 2012 London Olympics? Who was on that podium? Think about it.
I am thinking about it.
You were even there, you watched it.
I did. Wow, I've completely gone blank. It's embarrassing.
Shall I, for half a point, I'll list the top 3 and then you can figure out who got the second spot.
Well, I'll definitely, yeah.
So we had Johnny Brownlee in the mix.
Yeah.
Alistair Brownlee, obviously.
Silver.
And Javier Gomez.
Silver. Javier Gomez must have been the silver.
He was. I'm going to give you half a point.
I knew Alistair and Johnny's, so that was a very generous half a point there. Thanks, Mark. I'll take it though, because I really should have known that one. Okay, how about the medal table? Which country has the most triathlon medals?
Great Britain.
Half a point.
Oh.
Because it's also Switzerland.
Yeah, that's true.
This is not including, obviously, this week's triathlon, because at the time of recording, we're not 100% sure who's got those medals.
That's very true. We should probably...
we have to point that out. But Switzerland and Great Britain going into Tokyo have the exact same medals, 2 golds, 1 silver and 2 bronze.
Nice. Okay, next question. In the 2012 London Olympics, there was an epic sprint finish in the women. Oh, you just asked me that.
Oh, well, I reckon I know the answer to this one.
Okay, actually, hang on. I'll carry on. I'm going to follow on from that. The epic sprint finish, obviously, between Nicola and Lisa.
As we mentioned.
Who finished third?
Again, you've got me on a on a blank that I absolutely should know, because I can see the photo of the 3 of them on the finish on the podium. Blank. Yeah, no, I'm not going to get this one.
Aaron Densham.
Yeah, Aaron Densham. Sorry, Aaron.
Come on then.
Okay. How long was the bike leg at Tokyo?
What do you mean? 40k?
Actually,
8 laps.
It was 43Ks.
What?
Because the lap was slightly longer than 5Ks.
Oh. Well, it was 8 laps.
It was 8 laps.
So. Yeah. Okay, final question. In what year did paratriathlon make its debut at the Paralympic Games?
That must have been in 2016 at Rio.
Very right. Yeah, very good. Final question.
Am I on the final question?
I think so.
Okay. Last one. How many athletes competed at Tokyo in the men's and women's?
55.
Wrong. It's 56. 56 men and 56 women. So close though.
It used to be 40. It used to be 45 and 43. I think.
They've increased the quotas. They actually increased the quotas to 55, but on a technicality, there were 56 on the start.
Come on, surely I get half a point to know it's 55.
Yeah, okay. And the quota is officially 55.
And I knew that it used to be 45 and 43, I think it was.
Very good.
Oh, damn. Anyway,
I'm not sure what the final points were.
I think you've won, and I'm very embarrassed by my first answer.
Well, I'm very embarrassed by the couple that I didn't know too, so we better brush up on our Olympic knowledge before the next one in Paris.
I never was good at mental, quick answers anyway. But anyway, moving on, I want to ask you about our marathon training, because you did mention to me the other day that your training hasn't maybe gone quite as you planned.
Actually, my training's gone really well, and I've really been enjoying getting back into structured training and hitting sessions and stuff like that. What we're talking about is obviously this sub 2:30 marathon goal that Mark and I set very optimistically a few weeks ago. I'm really enjoying the training, and it's really been going well. What I've struggled with, and what I was talking about the other day, was actually I kind of underestimated what it was going to take. The training itself is going great and I'm feeling good, but as far as fitting it into my life, I kind of had this maybe incorrect assumption that if I'm not swimming and biking, I'm going to have a lot of time. And I'm running anyway, so basically I'm just doing more structured running than I was going to be doing. But training for a sub 2:30 marathon is a little bit more than just doing slightly more structured training.
And you've started a new job, you've got a family, 3 kids.
And we're in between our houses, so we're kind of camping in the in-laws' house. Potentially we'll be moving into our new house on race weekend, which is also not going to be good. So this is throwing a bit of a spanner into my training. I'm not sure, to be honest, whether I can keep up the level that's required for another 8 weeks to do a sub 2:30. However, I'm committed and I'm trying my best, and we'll do our best. But I'm already putting out my little caveat that if I don't get it, it's because life is seriously getting in the way already of my training. Anyway, how's yours going?
Similarly, I'm really enjoying the sessions, really getting stuck into them. We have kind of highlighted that literally every session counts, and what I've realized is where I've thought I could be flexible with my days here and there, I've had something come up or last minute, just wanting to spend time with a partner, etc. You can't catch up with this training plan. It's just impossible. And over the last weekend, I actually quite badly twisted my ankle whilst we were running off-road on kind of a long ultra run, and so I had to have a few days off, and so it's up and down, but the sessions itself are going really well and really motivated, but I am also finding it hard to fit everything in when just life happens.
This is kind of what happens when you start a program with no margin for error, which is what we've done. Wait till you have kids. If you think you're busy now, we're trying to fit stuff in. It is the reality basically of high performance goals is that there's not a lot of margin for error, and you don't really have much wiggle room if you want to stay on track. And we're finding that perhaps we bit off more than we can chew. But still committed. We're definitely not throwing in the white flag just yet. We'll give you some more updates in the upcoming weeks. Well, that's enough about my poor training plan execution. Also, how embarrassing that I totally forgot the Olympic medalists. How could I not recall that? I even read through them just before we did the quiz. Embarrassing. Also, the eagle-eyed would have noticed that when I asked Mark the question of how long was the route, what I meant to say was London, and I actually said Tokyo. So Mark was actually correct when he said 40 Ks. The London route was 43 kilometers long. But if Mark had known that, he probably would have called me up on it and realized that I asked the question incorrectly. And Mark's not here to protest, so I'm going to leave the results as they were. Of course, Mark's maths is about as bad as his question answering, so he calculated the totals wrong in his head, and he actually won. So let's move swiftly along. And I think next time we'll stick to physical challenges for these presenter challenges. On the social media side of things around the Olympics, one of the big things that the social media was reacting to was Kristian Blummenfelt's white suit. Now, we did talk about these in the past when they first released them, and sure enough, there they were, and they were wet and they were transparent as predicted. I think the Norwegians were more worried about performance than they were about style, but social media didn't hold back. In fact, the Australian commentators even said, "Can we talk about the Norwegian tri-suits? They're a shocker. Whoever designed them needs to be sacked. They are, of course, his swimmers under there. Superman wears his underpants on the outside. They've got this wrong, haven't they?" And a few other people also commented on it. The designer of the Norwegian triathlete outfits had a vendetta against Blummenfelt or something. But clearly his superhero outfit worked, and wearing his underpants on the inside or the outside, even if we could see them, was definitely not a performance inhibitor. He had an amazing blinder out there, so maybe next Olympics we'll see everyone in transparent white tri-suits. Anyway, moving on with more stuff we saw on social media. Alex Yee posted this image of himself when he was about 9 or 10, I think one of his first triathlons, next to his new image with a silver medal around his neck. Congrats, Alex, and I'm sure we're probably going to see that change into a gold maybe. He's got a big future ahead of him for sure. Also on Alex Yee, his girlfriend posted this amazing video of his family all celebrating in the local pub. Well, some amazing support there from Alex Yee, and I'm pretty sure there were scenes like that around Bermuda last night too, with Flora obviously taking the win. I think there are probably scenes like that all over the world for the few people who actually had amazing success at the Olympics. Of course, more people are disappointed when they leave the Olympics than have medals, but that's why it's so special. Only 3 medals up for grabs. Hayden Wilde was one of those who got a medal, and he had this on social media, his celebratory picture. 4 years ago, I was digging holes and building retaining walls. 4 years later, standing on the podium at the Olympic Games. What a story. Possibly not the last time we'll see that boy standing on a podium at the Olympic Games too. He's also a young one with a big future ahead of him. Congrats, Hayden. Also on social media in the lead up to the games, we saw some pretty cool bike porn. This one from Andreas Selversberg, who we actually saw this bike in the front of the race for a solid couple of laps towards the end of that bike leg. Pretty good looking bike there with the Swiss flag on it. Also, Johnny Brownlee put a photo of his amazing Scott foil up, not in the GB colours, but still a pretty good looking bike. Also not in her GB colours, but in a pretty fetching pink. Vicky Holland with her Canyon Aeroad that she rode at the Olympics, clashing a little bit, the red with the pink on that bike, but still a very good looking bike. Speaking of custom painted bikes, how about this one from Jan Frodeno? Jan Frodeno sporting the Hawaiian shirt and a Hawaiian themed Canyon Speedmax CF SLX Disc Kona limited edition. It's now available. It will come with its own special Canyon designed Aloha shirt. If that's what you were after. It also comes with a specially designed bike guard box, also custom painted with the same floral pattern as the bike frame, so you can be fully set for your trip to Kona, bike box and your Aloha shirt, courtesy of Canyon. On the PTO this week, some exciting stuff happening. They've already released a Battle for Glory series, Lucy Charles Barkley edition, Rudy von Berg edition, and this week Javier Gomez features on their Battle for Glory series. So you can click on their website to check that out. Already available if you're registered, so register on their website. Speaking of registered, what you can also register for on their website is the Fantasy League. We had a bit of fun with this over the Tokyo Olympics. Our office having some internal competitions on our own fantasy league, but which I think I won. We'll review that next week. But they'll have a similar fantasy league for the Collins Cup coming up soon. Obviously, you can't pick your teams yet because no one knows who's racing just yet. They still have to do the captain's picks. That's coming up soon. Speaking of the captains, Chrissy Wellington will not be a Team Europe captain. Boo. But they've replaced the 4-time Kona champion with a 6-time Kona champion. That's right, Natasha Badman is going to be the Team Europe team captain. So she'll be there, and Daniela Ryf will be excited about that. Daniela Ryf obviously crediting Natasha Badman with lighting her fire for Ironman, and she's gone on to some pretty big things. So she'll be excited about that, as are we. Of course, the big question now is, who are these team captains going to pick for their wild cards for the Collins Cup at the end of August. They're probably going to be reaching out, Natasha Batman's probably going to be reaching out to a certain Kristian Blummenfelt, maybe, because he'd be a good guy to have on your team. And maybe the international captains are reaching out to Flora Duffy to see if her diary is clear on the 28th of August. Well, we'll be there in Samarin watching that race and reporting for you. We can't wait. One more month to go. On to the stuff you guys have sent us. Remember, you can send us your own triathlon-related media, photos, images, videos, anything. Use our uploader and we'll feature on next week's show, perhaps. First up, this from Olivia in Switzerland. He, after work, ride with friends, pushing each other to train for our first relay triathlon in the amazing Vevi overlooking Lake Geneva. Pretty incredible place to train for your first triathlon relay. Enjoy it, guys. Also, this from Camille, who is at the swim start in Enea Big Dogids, I can't pronounce that, triathlon in Poland. Not even close to a 70.3 distance, he says with a little winky face. 1.9k swim, a 78k bike and a 23k run. Some random distances there, but he is walking on the water by the looks of things. Looks like a pretty good start for him. On to the Caption Competition, and last week we had this image of Utah where they were walking around the swim buoy. Len Whitrock writing, I've walked courses on a race before to get a feel for the course, but walking to the swim takes it to a whole new level. David McKay says, sinking legs is a real issue to overcome when swimming. Matt Legrand says, why do the lines for the porta potties at this race stretch all the way out here? And our winner for this week, Robert Nastasi, says, boy oh boy, aren't you glad we didn't wear our earplugs? Using some puns in there. Robert, congratulations. Send us your details and we get that swim cap out for our Caption Competition. This week's Caption Competition, we have this image. Of course, it's from the Olympics. Looking a little emotional on the finish line, Jess Learmonth and Georgia Taylor-Brown. So drop your captions in the comments below and we'll pick a winner for next week. Coming up on the show this week, tomorrow we have the mixed relay preview, so you can find out everything you need to know about the mixed relay before that happens for the first time ever in the Olympic Games. Also, Mark wheels out his cheap bike off eBay. Again, he's upgraded a bit this time and we put it to its paces against the Superbike Canyon Speedmax. See if he's made it any faster with his upgrades or whether he's completely messed it up. Hint, hint, it's the second one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you're looking for some more to watch right now, Heather trained like an Olympian, and what a challenge that was. And also, we did some videos on tips on how to not get lost.